Hi, my name is Kim McQuitty and welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about the 5 love languages. Many of you have heard about the 5 love languages. Some of you may not have heard about the 5 love languages, but it's a book written by Gary Chapman, The 5 Love Languages. I'm telling you, when I read this book, it just made so much sense in my head on how couples give and receive love, not just in couples, but individuals give and receive love. And there's 5 different love languages that the author talks about in this book. And they are words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, gifts, and acts of service. Acts of service is my love language. I took the assessment, and I'll link it in the description box below for those of you who've never taken it or never heard of the 5 love languages. But when I took the assessment, I came up high on acts of service. I say acts of service, acts of service, acts of service. There's usually like 2 particular love languages that are kind of strong, and one's a little bit stronger than the other. One is a little bit more dominant than the other. I feel like I'm a bilingual acts of service all day long. I love gifts. I love great gifts. I love spending time with the people that I love. I love for people, it's great to hear kind words about yourself, of someone sharing some words of affirmation. But you do something that's meaningful to me, that speaks volumes of love to me. Acts of service, acts of service, acts of service. Usually your particular love language that you receive love is also how you give love. And in a marriage relationship, 9 times out of 10, you guys have different love languages. So it really speaks volume for you to speak your partner's love language because it does not come naturally for you. If your love language is physical touch and words of affirmation is your spouse's love language, words of affirmation may not come easy for you. It's work for you to remember, okay, my husband loves to hear this. My husband needs to hear this. It may not come naturally for you. What comes naturally for you is the way that you receive love. And you know what? This is also in a parenting relationship as well. Your mom and dad, your parents have their own love language. And they may have raised you according to how they receive love themselves, whatever their dominant love language is. You're a person that strives on words of affirmation, that feels loved by someone speaking life to you, and your parents never told you they love you, then that could have been the reason why you feel, kind of maybe disconnected from them, because they didn't speak in a language that you could understand as a child. And love languages usually don't change over time. They are what they are, for what I've experienced. I will say mine has never changed. I haven't heard anyone saying I love language that's changed. Again, as I said, that sometimes you have a dominant one and a secondary one. You're what the author calls bilingual. Those may, interchange, but it's just becoming something totally different. And it could be in different seasons. You do need different things. But I've found that my dominant love language over time is always acts of service. And then the other 4, I have appreciated them more since I've gotten older. But going back to you growing up in your household, let's say your mom and dad, your dad was acts of service and your mom was gifts. And your mom just gave you gifts all the time. That's how she said she loved you. That's how she showed you how much she cared for you, but making sure that you looked well, that you're presented well, that your birthday come, you were celebrated well. Christmas, you got all the things you wanted, and every now and again she sends you gifts. And even as an adult, maybe you come home, there's Amazon packages on the porch, with paper towel, all the things you need to run a house as an adult. But maybe you've never heard her say I love you. If she loved you, and that's, this is not even what this video is about, but I feel like I need to share this. She loved you in the way that she received love. But it does not mean that she does not love you for who you are. It may not have translated the way you want to have felt, but it does not mean that she didn't love you because she spoke in a different love language than you. That's a dominant love language that most people will give in a way that they receive love. Same with your dad. Maybe his was acts of service. He was always doing, make sure you had what you need, all the things, but your words of affirmation. And I've never heard my dad love me. So there's this disconnect where I don't feel like my parents really loved me like I would have liked them to. They did. They just loved you in the language that came natural for them. So I want to talk to you today in the context of a marriage relationship. The 5 love languages. This is one of the things that is not on the marriage assessment, premarital assessment that I use for couples, but I incorporate it into my sessions because it is just that important. It is just that important, because being able to receive love in the way that you understand it, in the way that you're reciprocated, even when times are challenging, you still feel loved. And being able to speak your husband's love language, if a man is watching this, being able to speak your wife's love language is very, very important. Because it's something about the love languages that always makes you feel loved no matter what's going on. That, yeah, we may be hitting a patch right now, but I know that he still loves me. We may be hitting a rough patch right now, but I understand, it's just a patch because of the way that they're giving and receiving love. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the 5 love languages, and let's talk about what hurts them. That's one thing we don't talk about. We talk about how they operate, how they work, how we give, how we receive, all the things, but we don't talk about what the negative impact that you can have on someone because you're doing the opposite of what their love language, what their love language requires. So let's start with words of affirmation. Words of affirmation. If you're marrying someone and their love language is words of affirmation, and then just make it specific to the office. To make it easy, I'm going to talk about you as a woman loving your husband. This is the audience we're talking to. We're addressing women who desire to get married one day. Even those of you who are currently married and are watching this, you can apply this information as well. So, words of affirmation. Words of affirmation, what it looks like in practical terms in a relationship is telling your husband how much you love him, how much you appreciate him, telling him that he's good enough. Words that affirm him. Words that build him up, not tear him down. Texting throughout the day. Random text messages that I'm just thinking about you. Can't wait to see you later. How much I appreciate you. How much I love you. What hurts someone who has the love language of words of affirmation is insults. The cold shoulder. Putting them down in front of other people. Not saying I love you. Sarcasm. Even if you're joking. Also not saying thank you. Those are some of the ways that hurts a person or will hurt your husband if his love language is words of affirmation. Next one. If his love language is acts of service. Doing something that person loves. Something that you know that they will love. Expressing it in a way that you know that they will receive it. For a husband, any husband needs what I'm getting ready to share, but just being intentional, cooking meals that he enjoys, being intentional to just things that he really, really enjoys, giving some thought to it, not just throwing something together, just because, checking a box off of the list, dinner's ready, but just being thoughtful. And your actions will always speak louder than words when you're married to someone or you're in a relationship with someone who has the love language of acts of service. Your actions speak. I can't say this enough because this is my love language. Your actions will speak louder than your words. So important. What you do matters. What you don't do matters. So this is how you can hurt someone, or how your actions hurt someone who have a love language of acts of service. Broken promises. Not doing what you said you wouldn't do. That translates to you not loving me. You're not loving that person when you don't keep your word, when there's broken promises. Also, making more work for them to do. Just adding on to something that instead of coming alongside and helping them and shouldering the load. That is what will hurt a man who has acts of service as a love language. And also feeling taken advantage of. People who have the love language of acts of service are doers. They like to do things for other people because it's how they love, how they communicate love, by doing acts of service. They're serving you. It comes naturally for them. It comes naturally for them. It comes from their heart. But they feel like they're being taken advantage of, or the person reciprocate giving out that love, or they're giving that love to or pouring that love on, doesn't feel like they're grateful. It can be very hurtful. The next one is quality time. Spending time with the person that you love, who has a gift of quality time, whose love language is quality time, speaks volumes to them. Being intentional. Be intentional to spend time, not just with them and spending time with them sitting on the couch, being intentional, in their space, but also doing things that they love to do. What hurts someone who has a love language that's quality time is being on the phone while you guys are in a conversation. They want to be in that moment, in that space with you. They don't want to have to fight for your attention while you're on the phone or a text. I'm not saying emergencies. I'm not saying, if you're a married couple, you're checking on a babysitter. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you're just distracted. You're scrolling, you're liking, you're posting, not making time for your partner. Feeling like something else is always more important than you guys spending time together and not giving your full attentions. Kids, phones, in-laws, friends, even the television. Quality time means the time that you're spending is valuable. They want to feel like they have all of you. They don't have to vie for your attention from anything. That you're literally being intentionally setting aside this time to be with them, to be all in, to be there. Guys, it is so easy to get distracted. And I'm not just talking about somebody with the quality time love language. I'm not just talking about somebody with the quality time love language. It's just easy to get distracted, period. There are so many distractions. I can't tell you, and I've been guilty. I'm going to tell you, I've been guilty too. How many times you're sitting at a red light and we pull up that phone to pass the time away. The light ain't but 90 seconds, y'all. It ain't that long. You're checking Facebook, reading statuses, reading Instagram, all the things. We've gotten caught up reading statuses. We've gotten caught up reading DMs, and the light turned green, and the person behind you laying on the horn. I blow. I try not to lay on the horn. That's just so jarring for somebody to lay on their horn. But I'm not gonna deny I've done it before. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. It's just so many distractions. So much so to the point that it's hard for God to speak to us sometimes. Because there's so many things vying for our attention. He has to fight through all of the noise just to speak to us. Very important that you carve out time for the one that you love, and it's quality time. Quality time. Also, the next one is physical touch. The person who has a love language of physical touch loves to be held, likes to be hugged, likes their hand to be held. Just sitting down, you can tell when somebody's love language is physical touch, especially in a marriage relationship. They're just sitting in church and he's just holding her hand, his hands on her thigh, that's just the way that they give love. As much as they give love, they want to reciprocate and feel love the same way. So what hurts someone who has a love language of physical touch? Physical distance. No intimacy, no physical intimacy. No cuddling, no kissing. No hand holding. Rejecting touch. Leaning away from touch. Those things hurt someone who has a love language of physical touch. And then the last one, gifts. Buying gifts, purchasing gifts, thoughtful gifts, giving gifts. People who have a love language of gifts are givers. They are huge givers. And there's another element of them that they are very intentional givers. They're thoughtful givers. So thought goes into what they're buying. Probably not someone who's going to buy a gift card at the checkout lane in the grocery store as a birthday gift. They're going to put some thought into it. They're going to know who they're giving the gift to and just know what they like and be very intentional. They're very strategic. That's the word I want to use when they're giving their gifts. So what hurts someone who has a love language of giving gifts? Forgetting their birthday. Not just birthdays. If you're married, forgetting the anniversary. Maybe even forgetting the first day that you got your first date. The things that mean a lot to them. The sentimental things that they're maybe nostalgic of, connected to those things. Ignoring requests, not hearing what they're desiring, what they're wanting. They're saying they want this, they're desiring this. Even just not even dropping hints, not subtle hints. Just like, I would like this for my birthday, or I would like to go this place for our anniversary. this is my turn to pick. So this is what I would like to do this year for when we go out to dinner for whatever. Just not paying attention. This is a big one. Re-gifting something to them. That means you didn't give it much thought. I was an afterthought. I took something that someone gave me that I didn't want. I gave it to you. That hurts. But someone who has a love language of gifts, they pride themselves on what they give you. And to receive a gift that's been regifted, I guess you say, well, how do they know? You say, how do they know it's been regifted? Sometimes you can tell. And especially if they ask you where they got it from. Where'd you get it from? You have to be honest. Well, I would pray you would be honest and let them know. I would pray you would be. Giving gifts with no meaning behind them. Not celebrating, I said that, meaningful celebrations, meaningful occasions. Ignoring gift requests. I mentioned that. Gift ideas. It's going in one area and one out the other. And also not expressing gratitude for any gifts that's been given you. Talking about the 5 love languages, a book by Gary Chapman. I just want to give you some insight on the opposite of when that love language is communicated and how it impacts them in a negative way. I appreciate you guys showing up each week. And if you haven't, please subscribe, like, and share. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.